Your first job isn't really a job. It's an internship, unpaid, at a small design studio. And your family doesn't quite know what category to file it under. Your father describes it to a neighbor as training, which isn't wrong exactly, but isn't what it is either. Nobody asks your salary because everyone already suspects the answer and would rather not have it confirmed. Your grandmother pats your head at dinner and says, gently, "It's okay. Take your time." You don't yet know this sentence is the most patient version of a clock that's about to start running. You get hired as a business development executive at a startup nobody in your family has heard of. Your mother tells relatives you got a job in a company, leaving the title out entirely, because saying it out loud invites a question she doesn't want to answer for you. You're relieved just to have something. For about 3 weeks, that's enough. Your uncle asks at a small gathering what the company actually does. You explain. He listens with the specific polite stillness of someone waiting for a sentence to end so he can change the subject without seeming rude. You get a title bump. Nothing about the actual work changes much, but the word senior now sits in front of your role. And you notice, almost immediately, that it changes nothing at home either. Your mother still leaves the title out of conversations. The promotion exists entirely inside a company nobody in your family can picture, which means, as far as the family is concerned, it barely exists at all. At a family function, an uncle, a different one this time, from your father's side, asks what you do. You say the title. He nods, the way you'd nod at something in a language you don't speak, and then asks the only follow-up he actually has. So, is it government or private? You say private. He nods again, differently this time. A small, almost involuntary recalibration, like a scale settling after a weight's been placed on it. Your cousin clears the SSCCGL exam and is appointed inspector. The family group chat lights up within the hour. Congratulations, prayers answered, a specific kind of joy reserved for exactly this outcome. Someone forwards the news to you directly, as if you might not have seen it otherwise, with a message that reads only, "See this." Your aunt says it for the first time, lightly, almost as an aside. You should have done a government job. She says it the way you'd mention the weather. You laugh. She doesn't. You move to a mid-sized private firm, a real step up, better pay, an actual designation with associate in it, a company that at least has an office building relatives could theoretically visit. Your mother tries the company's name out on a few people. Nobody reacts. It isn't the government, and it isn't a name they've heard before, so it lands in the same unremarkable category the startup did. At a wedding, a relative you barely recognize guesses your salary out loud to someone else in a voice pitched exactly loud enough for you to hear. The number is low. Not insultingly low, just low enough to be wrong in a way that feels deliberate. Or worse, feels like it isn't. Your grandmother declares to the whole room that your cousin, inspector now, 6 months into the post, is settled. Nobody asks what settled means exactly because everyone already knows. A government job, a pension eventually, a title that will still mean something to strangers in 20 years. You are, by the same unspoken metric, not settled, despite the associate title, despite the raise you got 2 months ago, that nobody in this room has ever heard about. You should have done a government job, your grandmother adds, not unkindly, the way you'd add salt to something already cooked. You move to a large, recognizable multinational company. Your title changes to assistant manager. Your salary changes meaningfully. Within a week, your mother has told 6 relatives, unprompted, using the company's name like a password that finally opens a door. For the first time in years, nobody says the government job line to your face. You notice, with a strange mix of relief and something closer to bitterness, that nothing about who you are changed in that week. Only the noun on your ID card did. And yet the noun, apparently, was the only thing anyone in that family group chat was ever actually listening for. The cousin gets promoted again. A rank change. Within the same government department, 3 years into the post. The family group chat treats this with the same warmth as the original appointment, undiminished, as if government promotions accrue celebration at a fixed, generous rate that private sector titles simply don't qualify for, no matter how large the company's name is. You notice that nobody has ever once asked the cousin whether he likes the work. At the next big family function, An informal ranking has solidified without anyone voting on it. The cousin still sits, unofficially, above you. Permanence outranks salary in this particular scoring system, no matter what the number says. Someone mentions, admiringly, a distant relative who moved to Canada. That name outranks everyone, cousin included, for reasons nobody examines closely. You realize the table was never actually about money. It has its own private currency, and you've been trying to pay in the wrong one the whole time. The Canada relative visits for a wedding. Nobody asks about his job title specifically. It doesn't matter what it is. Software engineer, in this room, is functionally interchangeable with any other title because the word doing all the work is Toronto, not engineer. The cousin, for one function, one evening, is quietly, visibly, a rung lower than he's used to being. You watch the hierarchy reshuffle in real time and understand for the first time that it was never stable. It was never really about government versus private or title versus salary. It was about whatever the room currently agreed was the hardest thing to have. You're promoted to manager. It's a real accomplishment, the product of 3 years of specific, deliberate work, and for about a day, it feels like it might finally register as one. Your father mentions it to a neighbor, correctly this time, title and company both. The neighbor nods, unbothered, already moving on to ask about his own son's engineering entrance results. You realize the family has run out of confusion to have about your job. It simply isn't interesting anymore, in either direction. Not embarrassing, not remarkable. Just a fact, filed and closed. You've had 4 jobs, real growth, a title now that would have meant nothing to you a decade ago and means something you had to work for. Nobody in the family can explain what you actually do. They've stopped trying. Your aunt still says the line sometimes, softer now, almost reflexive, the way you'd say, "Take care," at the end of a call without meaning anything specific by it. You should have done a government job. You've stopped correcting her, stopped explaining, stopped even minding most days. It's just a sound the family makes near you sometimes, the way a house creaks in a spot it's always creaked. The cousin, inspector, then promoted, the family's proof that government means permanence, and permanence means peace, asks to meet you alone, away from a function, for the first time in years. He's been in the department for over a decade. He tells you flatly that he stopped feeling anything about the job around year 4, that the promotions since then have felt like a slow-moving elevator he can't get off of, that he sometimes envies how many times you've been allowed to start over. "At least you got to change your mind a few times," he says. "I said yes once, at 23, and that was apparently the only yes I was ever going to be allowed."